This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Friday, the 16th day of March in the year 2018. Here's what we're tracking tonight. The wife of one of the three men shot dead by the police yesterday afternoon on the seawalls said she is not buying the police report that her husband was one of the suspected bandits. 37-year-old Kwame Asana was among the three men the police said were shot dead after engaging undercover ranks in a shootout. In its release, the Guyana Police Force claimed that the two men were observed acting suspiciously in a black car outside Scotiabank on Robb Street. The police report claims that the two men followed a bank customer to the seawalls as the undercover cops followed them. According to the police, one of the men jumped out of the car and attempted to rob the bank customer, and it was then that the undercover cops shot the two men dead, claiming that the one trying to rob the bank customer had engaged them first. The third man, who was shot dead, according to the police, arrived on the scene with another man on a CG motorcycle. He reportedly engaged the police in gunfire and was shot dead as his accomplice rode off from the scene and escaped. But although the three men were shot dead, only one gun was reportedly found at the scene along with some ammunition. Additionally, although the police claimed there was a shootout, there were no bullet holes or damages to the car that the two men were traveling in, and which was owned by Asana. Speaking to News Source this morning, Asana's wife, Claire Asana, who is a private school teacher, said she needs answers because the police force's report is not adding up and is not making any sense when it comes to her husband. She raised concern that the police in its statement claimed that her husband had been previously arrested for several offenses.
So we're just asking, we need a complete inquiry into his death, how he died and why he died. We believe that he was wrongfully killed. He was never involved in crime, as I said before. There was never a time that we had to bail him out, anything. He was never accused or charged for any crime. And we're not coping well.
By this afternoon, the Assistant Police Commissioner, who is the crime chief, Paul Williams, admitted that the police force currently has no criminal record for Kwame Asana, agreeing with the wife. The crime chief told News Source that Asana has never been on the police force's radar, and so far investigators cannot locate any arrest or criminal record for him. The crime chief hinted that perhaps in the haste to get information to the public, the unconfirmed information about the man having a criminal past may have made its way into the release. However, the crime chief said the other two men who were shot dead are well known to the police. Let's tell you now that the Ministry of Finance appears to have taken issue with some recent suggestions and statements offered by the U.S. Ambassador to Guyana in an op-ed on the Sovereign Wealth Fund for the oil sector. In a statement, the Finance Ministry said it appreciates the spirit of the op-ed, but wishes to make clear that the establishment of the Sovereign Wealth Fund is already a design priority for the government of Guyana, and the government would like to emphasize that it is the government and people of Guyana who will decide on the tenets of the Sovereign Wealth Fund. The Finance Ministry said suggestions contained in the op-ed may give the impression that the government, and by extension the Ministry of Finance, has not made significant progress on the Sovereign Wealth Fund. That impression the ministry said is misinformed. According to the Finance Ministry, it values the comments from Guyana's bilateral and multilateral partners on the draft content of the Sovereign Wealth Fund and welcomes further engagement and support. In his op-ed, the American ambassador, Perry Holloway, said when he speaks of a Sovereign Wealth Fund, he's talking about a fund that will immediately begin to invest in education, health, infrastructure, agriculture, and security. And he's also referring to a concerted effort by all stakeholders to start a continuous conversation on how best to implement fiscal plans that directly address the needs of all Guyanese now. And finally this evening, the unemployment rate for persons aged 15 and above in Guyana currently stands at 12%. And that's according to the 2017 third quarter report of a continuous labor force survey which was released by the Bureau of Statistics yesterday. The report said the situation for women was substantially worse than that for men, compared at 15.3% versus 9.9%. The youth unemployment rate aged 15 to 24 is almost twice that of adults, staggering at 21.6%, with young women again facing severe hardship, as 28% of them are unemployed. The worrisome labor market situation for youths is confirmed by the proportion of youths not in education, employment, or training. It is recorded at 35.2% and is higher for young women and young urban dwellers. The general picture pointed to a marked disadvantage for women in the labor market, and is confirmed by the indicator regarding the proportion of women in managerial positions, which in the third quarter of 2017 was recorded at 37.8%. The report said the situation is substantially similar to that outlined in the 2012 census. The continuous labor force surveys are one of the main tools used to track labor market dynamics, such as the unemployment rate, job creation, and job destruction. And that's your evening news bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting for News Source.